Hi comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. And today I'm sat at my kitchen table because I'm carrying out one of my favourite activities, bagging and boarding comics. So yes, bagging and boarding comics. I do a lot of this. Quite often when I buy comics, especially at an auction, the comics will come in either without bags and boards or with bags and boards that are old and tattered. So I have to do a lot of bagging and boarding to get my comics in a decent shape for either putting into my personal collection or for selling on Whatnot or eBay. Now, I came across a couple of new products in bags and boards in the last couple of weeks. So I thought I'd do a bit of a review of those products. I am not being sponsored by anybody, okay? So the opinions you're going to hear here are entirely my own and are not influenced by anybody giving me money. Right. So first of all, let's talk about the three basic material options you have got when you're bagging and boarding comics. Right, the first option is a polyethylene bag. Okay, this is polyethylene. I don't like these. I'm sorry if you like polyethylene, but for me, one of the key features of a bag is the clarity with which you can see the comic inside. And I'm afraid the products with the least clarity for me, although they are quite strong, which is something else that's important, the clarity is the least good of the three materials I'm going to show you. Also, I have come across quite often old collections in polyethylene bags where the plasticizer in the bag has leached out and the bag has become horribly sticky, such that the bags are sticking against each other. So I am not a big fan of polyethylene comic bags. Right, next up is polypropylene. Okay, so here we have a polypropylene bag, and I think you can probably see against the polyethylene it's much clearer. This is a 2mm thick polypropylene bag, and for the majority of the comics that I am bagging, this is my choice. Okay, why? Because cost comes into the equation as well. You can pick up these for around about 7 or 8 pence a bag. Okay, and I think they do a pretty good job. Now, the third type of material is called Mylar. Okay, now that is a Mylar sleeve, and this gives you the best clarity. Okay, without any hesitation of a doubt, these are the best in terms of clarity and archival safety. Okay, so these are what an archivist would use if he was preserving old documents, is Mylar. Okay, however, the difference in price between a polypropylene bag here and the Mylar is very significant. Okay, you can pick up a polypropylene bag if you shop around for 7 or 8 pence. Mylars, and I'm going to cover off a particular one I found. If you were to try and buy Mylites or a product like that from the States, you'd probably be paying between 30 and 45 pence per bag. So there is a very significant, something like 5-fold difference in the price between polypropylene and Mylar. However, you do get better clarity with the Mylar, and it is more archival safe. So I do use Mylars for my more expensive comics. Okay, so that is where I end up. So probably for 80 and 90% of the comics I'm bagging and boarding, I use polypropylene, and then I would use Mylar for the more expensive ones. Right. You then, of course, have got a choice of sizes. These bags come in current size, Silver Age, Golden Age, and magazine sized. Now the only one of those I don't use anymore is current size. And this is purely about trying to minimize the amount of stuff that I've got, because I think a current sized comic looks fine in a Silver Age bag and board. There you go. So that is a current sized comic in a Silver Age bag and board. And I think it looks fine. Doesn't cost you a huge amount. There's not a huge amount of difference in price between a current age and Silver Age bag and board. So I put all my currents, my Bronze Age and my Silver Age all in Silver Age bags and boards. That means I only have to have Silver Age boards, Silver Age bags for both modern, bronze and silver. Okay, now then, what I do have as well though, I do have a Golden Age size. So this is the Golden Age size, and a lot of I do have some Golden Age type comics. Plus, quite often you might get those 100-page spectaculars, and you will struggle to fit them in because their height, they don't fit in the Silver Age bags. So sometimes I have to use Golden Age bags for those. And then, of course, I do have a number of magazine-sized comics or magazines, and there we have the magazine sized. So in my stock I have Silver Age, Golden Age and magazine sized polypropylene bags. Okay, backing boards. Backing boards are important. There's a large variety available these days, and you've got quite a lot of choice. Backing boards are more expensive than the bag. Generally you're going to pay about 7 or 8 pence for the bag, and you're going to pay 13 to 15 pence for your board. So your total cost of bagging and boarding a comic is going to be somewhere between 20 and 25 pence depending on what you buy. When you buy backing boards, you need to buy them acid free and coated, and 400 grams per square meter to give you that rigidity to hold your comic. Okay, now, and there's a lot of people who will sell these items. Now, specifically today, I've got 2 new products that I'm going to show you. So generally, I use, if you want to know the brand that I use, I'm not being sponsored by these people. My favourite is Comic Concept. I have been using them for quite a period of time, and I do buy Comic Concept bags and boards. I find them very good. What I don't like, and let me show you, these actually do have it. What I do not like are these horrible self-seal. Can you see this? The way you pull this strip off, it's got a sticky strip underneath it, and therefore you don't need anything to seal your bag with. Okay, let me talk about these. I do not like these. I have had a couple of nasty experiences with these where I've ended up with nasty tape pulls because, and you say, well, how can you get a tape pull with this? Well, what happens is you take the comic out of the bag, you have to open it up, that then is sticky. If you then accidentally put a comic back down on top of it, you will end up with a tape pull. It is horrendous. I hate tape pulls more than anything. I've had tape pulls with these, and I've had tape pulls with sellotape. I prefer bags that do not have these self-seal tape. In fact, if I do get bags with these on, I don't use them. I just fold them over and use what I seal all my comics with, which is blue painter's tape. Okay, so if you look at this comic here, that has got a bit of blue painter's tape. Why do I use this? Because it is very low tack, very easy to peel and reseal it, and it doesn't cause tape pulls. Okay, so my recommendation: go on to Amazon. This is actually Scotch Blue is my favourite brand. There you go. They're not sponsoring me either. But if you want to send me a pack of Scotch Blue tape, Scotch Blue, I wouldn't say no. So yeah, that's how my majority of my comics end up looking, with a polypropylene bag and a bit of blue painter's tape to finish off the seal, and a 400-gram acid-free coated board. Right, sorry, I got slightly distracted by the sealing mechanism there. Let's talk about the two new products I've come across. Right, so I recently bought a bundle of comics, bags and boards from a guy that I deal with on Whatnot. He's a great guy. I've bought comics from him on Whatnot. He's bought comics from me on Whatnot. And I saw that he had got his own brand of bags and boards. So I said to him, what's the best price you can do on them? And if you go to his website, I am not being sponsored by Caveman, by the way. If you go to his website, you can buy these bags and boards. Now, the more you bought, the better price you got. So I just bought 500 bags and boards off him, and effectively it worked out at £20. So £20 for 100 bags and 100 boards. That's 20p per comic to bag and board it, and that's about as low as I've got without going off and organising my own bags and boards, which I'm sure I could do, but life's too short. I'm quite happy to buy these off somebody like Caveman in a 500 at a time for £20 each, and that included. Be careful when you buy these, because these are heavy, and if you're not careful, make sure you take into account the postage cost. So these ones from Caveman were postage free. So yeah, I do recommend. That's a decent price. Now, I have tried these out. So the boards are fine. They are, they are 400. There's the boards. They come in packs of 100. They are just as good as the boards that I get from Comic Concept. They're one side coated, I think. Yeah, one side coated. So you put the coated side next to the comic, because it protects the board from any acid that's leaching out of the comic for a period of time. 400 grams, nice and stiff. It's flat. There's no dings on it. So that's what I want from my backing board. So backing boards from Caveman, standard, just as good as the other ones on the market. Now, when it comes to the bags, these polypropylene bags, I've used a few of these now. I've tested them out. They're 2mm. They actually feel a bit. The Comic Concept ones, I think, are 2mm as well, but these feel thinner, and the visibility through them is really good. So that's good, and they've got no self-seal thing on them, thank goodness. So I use my tape. It is a personal choice, but I don't like those self-seal things, so I actually prefer my bags without them. So for me, these are just as good in my experience so far as my regular brand, but I did get them a bit cheaper. The cheapest I can get the Comic Concepts is about 20 for the bag and board combined, is about 22 pence. So I can get them slightly cheaper from Caveman if I buy them in 500s. that price with Comic Concept as if I buy in bulk as well. So it's a fair comparison. As it stands at the moment, I will probably be a regular customer with Mr. Caveman. His products are just as good as the brand that I currently use, and I can get them for slightly cheaper. Plus, I'm spending my money with somebody I know who I am quite happy to support their business. Right, so that is the Caveman. Now let's just talk about Mylars, because I do use Mylars for my more expensive comics that either I'm selling on or in my personal collection. They do give you better clarity, they are more archivally safe, but they're expensive. And if you want to buy sort of Mylars from the States, you know, you're going to be paying, remember you're paying about 7 to 8 pence for the polypropylene. You're talking about 35 to 45 pence for a Mylite or Mylars from the States. So you're talking about 5 or 6 times the price. You know, that is 36 to 45 pence every comic. And if you're doing hundreds of comics, these are not huge economical sense. So I only use them for the special ones. Now, I have to tell you, I have found a UK manufacturer and supplier of Mylites, or sorry, they're not Mylites, that's a brand name, of Mylars. So this is from a guy called, company called, the brand is called Volstor. I found these at a guy that I regularly buy bags and boards from at the London Comic Mart, and he has produced his own, effectively, Mylar bags, super clarity, acid free, archival crystal clear. Now you can get these on eBay currently. If you go on and you type Volstar, you'll find them, and they are, I just bought another 100 at 24 pence to £24 for 100, so that's 24 pence per bag. That is significantly cheaper than the previously available Mylars. If you do want some Mylars to put your comics in, have a look at Volstor. They are sort of, the ones I bought were Silver Age ones, and they are a bit wider. They're a bit wider, so you do get a bit more space. There's a bit of movement of the bag, of the board in the bag, because they are a bit wider. They've got a large flap on them, and they haven't got a self-seal on them, which of course I like. So there you go. This is my bagging and boarding video. You know, my regular brand, Comic Concept, perfectly good, nothing wrong with them. If you can get these cheaper than 20 pence for 100 bags and boards, do it. I can't find them at that price. Alternative, the Caveman Comics, go to his website, don't go on eBay, go to his website, because he can do you a better deal on his website. Buy 500 and you'll get them at 20 pence for a bag and a board. And then, as I said, Volstor for the Mylars. There you go. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it has been useful. That's your lot. See ya again soon.